I think there's a lot of positives out there tonight. I think there's also tons of opportunities to learn. We were able to play a lot of players tonight, which I think will benefit our team in the long run. I do think that maybe we were a little bit anxious early. We did have some undisciplined play, a little bit sloppy at times in the first half, in my opinion. But we need to improve, and that's the message. We need to keep that chip on our shoulder and really show up every day and work to improve. And we got to make the most of this open date. And we'll play better teams down the road here. So, big message for our team is that this is what we should expect. We need to show up to the park and play with that type of effort and toughness. We executed well at times tonight, but I also think that there's lots of areas for improvement. So with that, we'll take some questions.
Once your offense did get rolling, how much did you think it did what it was capable of? And frankly, how much were you holding back?
We didn't, I don't think you can do that these days. I think that, you get to play, you're guaranteed 12 games. Why would you keep any bullets in your gun? Let's go to the park and have some fun and play and use all the players that we have. I thought we did a good job of spreading the ball around tonight. All the backs were effective, and I think both quarterbacks played well. So overall, lots of positives, but I do think that we can improve in some areas.
Specifically, what areas?
I think as a staff we can improve. I think some of our in-game processes we can improve at, our communication. I think that, some of the things that we did from an execution standpoint, maybe we had success, but doesn't necessarily mean that we executed the play the way that we were supposed to. But I do think that every person in that building can improve. And that's going to be the big challenge going forward, is keeping people focused on, myself included, what can I do better in 2 weeks. But our kids played hard. They played with toughness. For the most part, we played a clean game relative to the sportsmanship that we want to play with. And I thought they hung in there and played through the adversity early and, had some poise. And once we got it rolling, I think they started to realize that they've worked really hard this offseason and that work had paid off.
How much, if any, starting to back at the start of the second half, would maybe just to stimulate the start of the game?
Well, we had a plan going into the game in terms of the rotation, and it just happened to be his possession to play. So we kind of told those guys and met with those guys after we went through the call sheet, some of the down and distance and field zone stuff this morning in our quarterback meeting. I told them, I said, look, here's the plan for the rotation. It has nothing to do with how you're playing at the time. We're going to put you in the game. Andre, you don't need to be looking over your shoulder. It's just the guy's a complimentary player. He's an effective player, and he's a great teammate and a guy that I think deserves to play. We'll continue to do that.
How much confidence did you have in Levi after seeing him take a 98?
Well, the guy, it's just what we've been observing each day. The guy's he's a great teammate. He's a guy who takes his job very seriously, and he works hard at his craft. And he just, he did his job. He executed the plan, and I think both guys did that for the most part.
Was there a concerted effort to get it to the tight ends tonight?
No, I don't think that. I think that what you saw tonight will be pretty normal. I know you're a big tight end guy, but we actually got a couple of guys that I think are pretty good players. I think Matt and Johnny both are really good players and guys that can continue to improve. But, we're going to spread the ball around and take what the defense gives us, and we play with, we got one out there all the time and sometimes two. So I was happy for Matt. The guy's been through a lot, back for his 6th year. To see him catch that naked and run it in for a touchdown, that was fun to see.
No matter how much you talked up the quarterbacks all summer long and all spring long, I think there were still maybe some doubts. Do you feel vindicated at all that they both came out and played as well as they did today?
Well, I think that, the challenges are going to get harder. They're going to be more difficult in the future. But, the guys did their job. They showed up. They executed the plan. They prepared well. A lot of what you see out there doesn't just happen. It happens because of what they did 10 days ago, what they did 4 months ago. And that's the message. I mean, and really here from an in-season routine standpoint, you know, it's like you're a soldier. You get trained for several years in your life, and then they drop you out of a helicopter, and then boom, you got to do your job. And then, hey, next week it's going to be the same way, you know, and it's a different battle each week. You got to prepare Sunday to Saturday each week, and you got to go execute the plan. So we got to learn how to prepare on a consistent basis, and we've got, you know, there'll be much more adversity for our team in the future, and that's going to be the biggest challenge, is keeping these guys focused on what gets them ready to play well.
Coach, the last drive in the first half, I think he hit 7 or 8 or 6 or 7, real good rhythm. Just talk about that.
Yeah, that was good to see. You know, we kind of played normal for a while until it got to about the 1:30, you know, on the clock, and then we kind of transitioned into 2-minute offense. But, you know, again, I think everybody, you know, a lot of what you see with these quarterbacks is the other guys are doing their job. You know, we got guys protecting them, you got guys running good routes and getting open and separating, running backs blocking and protection. So the situational work there at the end of the half was really good. I was happy to see that. And certainly the backed up possession that went for 98 yards, again, those are situations that we worked tons throughout training camp, and it's good to see some of that situational work pay off.
On the left side of the offensive line, before you started subbing lots of guys, you played both Max Mitchell and Shane Fallow. Is that something you plan to continue to do, or is that kind of a, you know, just give these guys a look?
Well, Max and Rico in particular are both players that have done well. Max Mitchell's one of the freshmen that really has impressed us just in terms of his maturity, how important it is for him to do his job. You know, he takes a very serious approach and works at it really hard. And Rico's a guy who, you know, when we got here, people didn't think much of the guy, you know, and he's a big, tall, long guy that really has taken things seriously. We're very pleased with him as well. But those two guys in particular, you'll see those guys rotate in the future. Shane is a guy who, you know, he's a walk-on. The guy's lost 50 pounds since we got here. You know, a guy got in tremendous shape. He's a guy who wants to be a coach, you know, and all of a sudden, here he is in training camp. Guy gets banged up, or, you know, and then he's in there, and he made the most of his reps. Next thing you know, we're like, well, this guy's playing as good as anybody out there, you know. So he's earned his opportunity, and I think it's a direct reflection of the quality walk-ons that we have on our team. You know, 40% of that team that you saw out there is brand new, right? They weren't on the team last year. So there's a lot of guys that you don't even know their name. They're first-year players, they're walk-ons, and, you know, I think that we'll continue to really feature the walk-on program here and want to make the most of those opportunities.
Do you know how many first-year players you played tonight?
I do not know that number, but I could have that for you, you know, here in a couple of days.
Can you talk about the running back rotation? It seems like each one is different than the other.
Yeah, we have a unique group there, man. I think we got a really talented group. You know, we got some skill now. I mean, I think our backs are very, very impressive. They all practice the way that you would want a unit or a position group to practice. And they're great teammates that get along with each other. There's no selfishness. We basically committed to a same rotation with those guys and told them ahead of time, hey, here's how it's going to be. And, you know, when you get in there, make the most of your opportunities. And I think for the most part, those guys did a really good job.
Did any one player jump off the page that surprised you maybe today?
No, I mean, heck, you just hope they do what you see them do in practice every day. You know, I felt like we had, you know, a pretty good group. You know, I felt like we got a chance to have a good team. You know, the question's going to be if we can keep the same attitude. Everybody's going to be patting us on the back for the next 2 weeks. If we can show up and work like we've been working, we got a chance to have a good team as we go through this year.
What's it like getting your first win as a head coach?
Man, I tell you what, you don't even have time to take a deep breath. I'll probably, when I get to the house tonight, sit down with Allie on the couch, I'll probably have time to think about that. But I made a lot of mistakes today, you know, and I'm gonna work my best to keep getting better at this deal. But I got lots to learn and lots of things that I can get better at. And certainly, it's a new ball game. It's a whole new experience, and My call sheet looks like something my little girl Annie Jo drew all over, you know. I mean, I got so many notes in that game. So we can get better. I can get better, and everybody else, I think, probably feels the same way. But, you know, you only get to put the ball down and play 12 regular season games, and certainly I was pleased for the most part with the intangibles today.
Does the bye come at a good time after, obviously I haven't seen the film yet, but I don't think you would draw up a second week bye, but do you think that it comes at a relatively good time from what you saw tonight?
You know, it is what it is. I mean, sometimes over time, you can work politically to try to get your bye where you want it and all that. I know at Alabama, us and LSU always were open prior to that big game. But, you know, we're going to make the most of our opportunity. We have a plan that we use during the bye week. You know, we'll have 2 training camp practices where we'll put an emphasis on teams that we play down the road, you know, and then we'll turn the page to Mississippi State on Thursday. We won't practice tomorrow night. We'll give the guys, we'll run and lift tomorrow, meet, watch the film, quality control everything, and then give the guys off Monday, and then we'll go hard to the paint for a couple of days here, and then we'll transition to Mississippi State.